Aloha and welcome. My name is Taylor Norris, and I am a Reiki Master Teacher as well as a certified Galactic Astrology Soul Reader. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you about the astrological transits of the end of April and leading into early May, leading up to the May 7th Taurus new moon. We will look into the astrology of the Taurus new moon, the galactic astrology of the Taurus new moon, zoom in on one of the most potent astrological galactic alignments going on with one of my favorite fixed stars, and we will wrap up this video with a galactic heritage card message of higher guidance. So I thank you so much for being here today with me in this video, and I'm really excited to explore these energies with you. And as always, of course, also invite in and receive the highest possible expression of these transits and of these astrological and galactic alignments. Before we dive into the astrology, I want to let you know about two events that I have coming up. On May 6th, I am hosting a free distant Reiki share for the Taurus new moon. The new moon is actually May 7th, but the Reiki share I am hosting is on Monday, May 6th, and it's at 8 a.m. Hawaii time. That's 11 a.m. Pacific. Adjust to your time zone, see if it works for you. You're welcome to come. It's open to everybody, whether or not you have Reiki experience, whether or not you have astrological knowledge. We'll talk about some astrology, and we'll also do a Reiki journey, and we will invite in and send and receive Reiki as a group. It's always a lovely gathering. Every month it grows, and more soul family members are included in the circle, empowered by the circle. And it's such a pleasure to get together at this moment of the new moon, setting a seed of intention. And what a beautiful time to do this at the Taurus new moon. You can learn more details and RSVP for free on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. I've got another event coming up in May. This one is May 25th, also at 8 a.m. Hawaii time. And this is a wonderful, empowering, and healing class, Expanding Mental Mastery. And it's all about the transit Jupiter in Gemini. This class combines galactic astrology and a Reiki journey. So it is an awesome experience to connect more with Jupiter, with Gemini archetype, to also explore the galactic alignments that are highlighting over the course of this transit, and really receive the Reiki energy as a healing and empowerment, a guidance for bringing in the higher frequencies of this transit and exploring what this means for you. And this is a series of classes I've been sharing that combine galactic astrology with the Reiki journeys. And they've been very successful and fun. And again, a growing group of soul family gathering. Was so blessed on the Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus class I hosted, the co-creating heaven on earth. We had, I believe, 18 of us in the circle together. It was just such a powerful group and a really safe, sacred space held in a Reiki energy container, bringing in so much healing, that sense of community, belongingness, and also some really profound astrological and galactic information too, in complement to your own inner guidance, your own inner experience facilitated by the Reiki journey. And this class is for all levels of Reiki experience, all levels of astrology experience as well. We meet you where you're at, and you learn a lot through osmosis, no matter where you are. So you can learn lots of details. Jupiter and Gemini learn lots about the class on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. Feel into if it's right for you. And I will also make a video sharing more about this transit and more about the class also. So, looking at the end of April and early May transits, this is what we have on deck. So, you can take your notebook out, your calendar out, make some notes. This is what's going on these days. And I looked at them from the perspective of Hawaii time. So, adjust if you are in Australia, New Zealand, these types of places where the days are different. But from Hawaii's perspective, this is the dates with the transits included. So on April 28th, I am recording this on April 27th. Tomorrow, so April 28th, we have Mars conjunct Neptune. And I believe I talked about this a little bit in my Scorpio full moon video. And this is really a deep spiritualization of the will. This is the healed ego, Mars conjunct Neptune, healing, cleansing, purifying, reorienting to spirit, your divine connection. A wonderful time to really spend in meditation, Reiki journey, shamanic journey, whatever your spiritual practice is. This can be creative. This can be a wonderful time to rest, take it easy, do some yoga, do some gentle movements, and really connect to your spiritual source for motivation and nourishing your own spiritual connection, because Mars is going to be very busy soon. Very, very busy. And this is also a time to let go of any of the unhealed or unhealthy aspects of the divine masculine energy, Mars. On April 29th, Venus enters the zodiac sign of Taurus, which she rules. So this is wonderful. This is like Venus is coming home into her own sign. This is creative. This is abundant. This is practical energy. This is very beautiful and sensual and indulgent and connected to nature as well. This is just a wonderful embodying energy of the divine feminine and appreciation and gratitude. And this can also be spiritual business. This can be very practical. We'll be talking more about Venus in the context of this Taurus new moon on May 7th, but just know April 29th, Venus is coming home to her own sign. April 30th, Mars is coming home to his sign of rulership. So on April 30th, Mars enters Aries, and this is where the divine masculine function of Mars is very comfortable in rulership, very direct. That recently spiritualized Mars conjunct Neptune can now take radical action step by step and focus and be direct and be intentional and be constructive and productive and driven and motivated with that spiritual motivation, and actually putting it into actions and taking it out into the world and creating real results. So this is really, really beautiful energy, Mars and Aries. And it's also like, remember to balance, remember to ground, remember to take breaks, remember not to drive yourself too hard either, to be in that balance and understanding, not to drive so hard that you burn yourself out, kind of a thing, to recognize, all of that motivation and power, and like to hold it gently and with a sustainability in mind too. And all of the Taurus energy can kind of help manage it more sustainably. April 30th, also Venus is in square to Pluto, Venus entering Taurus, early degrees of Taurus. Pluto is in early degrees of Aquarius, so those two signs are naturally square one another. And this can be kind of a cleansing, purification, empowerment of the divine feminine function. And also thinking about, okay, what kinds of actions need to be taken in alignment with my soul purpose, in alignment with my higher vision for my life. What qualities of being do I need to embody? In what ways do I need to open myself to receive more of that soul information and soul connection and soul directive represented by Pluto and Aquarius, and also welcoming in, embracing, receiving, and embodying the new paradigm of Pluto and Aquarius. May 2nd, Mars in sextile to Pluto, Mars in Aries in sextile to Pluto and Aquarius. So that's even more soul motivated, soul aligned, soul directed action, Mars. And this can be quite deep, quite productive, and it can also be quite intense too, and very powerful, potentially very empowering also, that there's this harmonious flow of energy connecting between the soul within the context of the new paradigm, Pluto and Aquarius, sextiling this harmonious flow of energy with Mars, our inner divine masculine function, and our drive, our focus, our motivation, our personal will, our healed ego too. So this could be additional healing of the ego coming in May 2nd. May 2nd also is highlighted by Pluto stationing retrograde. It's been moving direct through Aquarius, and now it is stationing retrograde at just over 2 degrees of Aquarius. So this heightens Pluto's symbolism for about a week or so on either side of May 2nd. So I was talking about this in the Scorpio full moon video. It's certainly an energy that's also present in this Taurus new moon. So Pluto's symbolism about soul consciousness, becoming more soul conscious. This could be like past life memories. This could be guidance from the invisible realms, spirit guides, animal communication, deep listening to nature, deep listening to yourself, an emergence and resurgence of your more of your multidimensional self, your galactic connection, other lifetimes, parallel aspects, and a real awareness too of kind of the new paradigm frequencies that maybe, still be kind of very etheric and like very in the ether and still in their invisible realms, but you can access more of that through this Pluto station and have more of that conscious contact with like, what does that all mean and what does it feel like, and how can, Mars take action with that sextile Pluto? Like, what do I do with this? And how can I embody these states of consciousness? And, what is this? How does this inform my soul purpose as well, too, with like the balance and like why I came in this lifetime? So really, really powerful energy here. May 2nd, another powerful day. Mercury is conjunct Chiron. This is his third pass with Chiron. Mercury was moving direct, conjunct Chiron, then in its retrograde motion, April 1st to April 25th, went retrograde, conjuncting Chiron, and now this is Mercury going direct and conjuncting Chiron once again. So more of that mental healing, mental transformation, channeling, belief system, rewriting, mindfulness, empowerment. Like, what are you tuning into? What are you learning about? What are you interested in? This is a great time to be delving more deeply into healing topics and healing resources and listening to healing journeys or healing meditations or doing your own and thinking about your own and channeling your own for yourself, and to really invite in that inner healer, teacher, mentor archetype Chiron to be very present and be very much with you. So this is also very beautiful alignment here. Sun sextile Saturn, this can also be very productive as the sun is in Taurus, Saturn in Pisces. This can be like a spiritual infusion of the life force energy. And how do you express yourself more tangibly within the heaven on earth paradigm? Taurus, this Jupiter Uranus conjunction, so much about that heaven on earth energy. And so taking some action, some step by step, seeing kind of more of the long term vision there, and working, this could be business, rework, spiritual business, reworking some things and thinking about how you can shine your light more authentically in whatever your work is, whatever your vocation is. On May 7th at 5:21 p.m. Hawaii time, we have the Taurus new moon. And on May 6th, I also have the distant Reiki share that you are invited to. So May 6th, distant Reiki share, May 7th, 5:21 p.m. That's the Taurus new moon in Hawaii time. Adjust to your time zone if you want to be exact and precise about it. This is our beautiful astrological chart of the Taurus new moon. It is occurring at 18 degrees of Taurus and 1 minute. You can see that the new moon is created by the moon and the sun coming together. And this chart is actually showing 18 degrees and 2 minutes of Taurus. So for this new moon, you'll want to, if you know how to, and you can do this, find where is 18 degrees and 2 minutes of Taurus in your natal astrology chart. Which house area is it occurring in? And you can do this by looking at the signs in the outside ring of the zodiac wheel, and you see the sign of Taurus. It's kind of covered up by this arrow, and you can see the degrees by these little hatch marks here. And in every sign, there are 30 degrees. So you can see the sun and moon are here, but really if you were looking at the hatch marks, it's like, okay, here's 5 degrees, here's 10 degrees, here's 15 degrees, 16, 17, and 18 is actually this line right here is technically where that sun and moon is. So that's a little bit of information if you're brand new to astrology. Others of you will be like, I know where 18 degrees of Taurus is, and I know it's squaring my north node, or it's in trine to my Lilith, and that's great. Okay. I'm making this video with the intention that it can share something valuable for as many people as possible. So by knowing the house placement, you can know what area of your life is this new beginning occurring, and new moons are always about planting seeds of a new beginning. And the sign of Taurus is really like the spring zodiac sign. Aries is beginning this spring in the northern hemisphere. That is in the southern hemisphere. This is the fall, right? And so in Taurus, by the time we're in Taurus season, this is when spring is really going and things are flourishing, and it's like spring at its height. So it's got this energy of fertility to it. Each new moon starting this cycle of new beginnings in terms of the lunar cycle. The full moon marking that halfway point, the quarter moons also demarcating. The new moon occurs about a week later. We have the first quarter moon. About a week after that, we have the full moon. About a week after that, we have the third quarter or last quarter moon. And then a week after that, we're back at dark of the moon into new moon, and we start a whole new cycle again. So this is an intention you're planting for the next 28 to 30 days or so. And they aggregate and build upon one another. So the longer you do this for, you're linking in with all these other seeds of intentions you've planted at every single Taurus new moon prior to that. And you're also linking into all the other Taurus full moons that occurred in the past and those that are occurring in the future as well, because the lunar cycles are all just like, DNA spirals relinking in with one another infinitely backward and forward in time. And I hadn't planned to talk about any of this, but that's just kind of what is channeling through at this time. So I'm going to trust that that is helpful to some of you. So Taurus is a yin, feminine, more inward, fixed earth sign. So it is very creative, very practical, beauty oriented. It's ruled by the planet Venus, who is also in Taurus, which I mentioned earlier. And so this is a wonderful, creative, productive, tangible, practical. Okay, what are we building? What are we building that's going to contribute to the new consciousness and the new earth and heaven on earth? Because you can see the new moon and Venus are not the only planets in Taurus. There's Venus here, the moon, the sun, and the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Now, Jupiter is separating away from planet Uranus because Jupiter moves faster than Uranus, but their conjunction, they're still only 3 degrees apart. So that energy is still with us and will be with us until really Jupiter changes sign and moves into Gemini on May 25th. And as that conjunction started a 13 to 14 year cycle, it's really rippling out further beyond just even May 25th. So it's a big energy. So much Taurus energy here. What is this about? Wow, it's about beauty. It's about the divine feminine. It's about gardening. It's about our connection to the earth. It's about our connection to the body, that we are made of the earth, that we are children of the earth, and that we are here to create love and beauty and joy and experience delight in our senses. So delight in your senses, delight in what you can see and hear and taste and smell and touch, and be thankful for all the senses that you have that are functioning. And be thankful also for your clair senses, because you can see Sun Uranus here, new moon conjunct Uranus. Ooh, we have some activated clair senses too. So Taurus, normally I would say this is more of a like relaxing kind of a new moon energy, but as it's conjunct Uranus, this can be quite activating also. So really, finding balance, finding that central nervous system soothing. A lot of people I've been talking to have been, struggling with anxiety or, a lot of emotionality and activated nervous systems just with that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction and then eclipse season. So finding a lot of time, as much time as you can, to ground, to be in your spiritual practice, be in the Reiki energy. I've been guided to do more Reiki meditations and journeys and spend more time in the energy than ever before. And I already thought I was hooked on Reiki and in the Reiki energy alone. I invite Reiki to be a part of like all my life, all the time, beyond all the time. But really, this has been like a next level of leaning into Reiki as my source of stress reduction and managing my nervous system. It is keeping me calm and centered and still and in flow and not spinning out into worry and fear and anxiety and negative emotions and so on, like helping me stay in the here and now. So for me, that is Reiki. That's what I teach and that's what I work with. For you, it may be something else. but keeping that in mind to really tend to your own self-care with this, because we do still have a lot of like driving Aries energy here, especially with Mars in Aries. The North Node still in Aries, Chiron in Aries, going to be in Aries for a while longer now. Mercury in Aries. So there is that drive, there is that push, there is that active engagement. Mercury is finishing up with its shadow period, the trails it already left for itself, and will be leaving its shadow period later on in May. Let me check the date on that actually. Mercury will exit its shadow period and be covering new territory beginning May 12th, May 13th. So this is very exciting. We're still wrapping things up at the time of the new moon, and new territory will be covered soon enough. The new moon is also sextile Saturn. So we talked about that, Sun sextile Saturn. So this is a very extra productive new moon, an extra practical, pragmatic, and with a deeper spiritual motivation, a deeper sense of spiritual inner authority as well for what the seed being planted is, and thinking this is a seed that is not just for the here and now, but it's actually for the long term too. It's actually, taking that day-to-day consistent results that build up and aggregate over time and really create beautiful, tangible, meaningful, and effective results. So that is really, really awesome here. And this really does just feel like there's a lot of sweetness, there's a lot of magic, there's a lot of enjoyment, pleasure, delight, luxury, and I think also inviting in appreciation and gratitude for the earth and for your human body and for your human experience and for this human life, that all of those qualities can really be a part of this new moon experience as well. Here you can see the galactic charts of the Taurus new moon. These are created on the amazing website galacticastrochart.com, where you can create charts like this for free for your birthday. Also, there's a free calculator, and then there's one that's available inside the certification course that I'm a part of through Julia Balaz. So you might not see as many stars as I'm able to see, as I'm a part of her course and community and a certified practitioner, but you can create a chart like this and still see quite a lot of your own galactic alignments and start dreaming into what some of that means for you. And if you're guided to explore deeper with some assistance, you can book a reading with someone like myself or one of her many other certified practitioners on the galacticastrochart.com website. So in reading this chart in a basic way, basically both charts are saying the same exact thing. One is using the zodiac wheel, one is using table format. You can see on the inner rings here, these are the planets and the significant points. You can see on this outer ring all the zodiac signs. And then you can see the words written in here. These are names of specific stars that a specific planet or point is in a conjunction with. This is a 0-degree aspect where the energies are merged. So example is Uranus is conjunct Capulus star and Perseus constellation. Those energies are merged. They are compressed. There's a real sense of we can easily access the Capulus energy through our awakened higher mind and our spiritual life force energy, and can be feeling a major Kundalini activation of our inner divine masculine energy and this capulus frequency in terms of connecting to any parts of yourself, any soul connections, any guides you may have from Capulus star system in Perseus constellation. This is an alignment I talked about in my Jupiter Uranus class, and this is wonderfully activating. This is like focus on those results you want to dream in. This is a lot of intense energy that can be channeled very effectively to bring in the reality that you wish to create, and a real like understanding and reworking and comprehension of your own energy system and meridians, and really like creating and calling in and claiming powerfully the reality you want to create in your life and you want to share and express in the world. So that was certainly a part of the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and still Uranus is holding this frequency for us as well. And you can see in the charts here, the planets and points are in this column, the zodiac degrees and their signs. No houses, because this chart is set for where I am in Hawaii. So the houses are not applicable unless you're in Hawaii. And you can see here the conjunctions and the oppositions to the various star systems and the star. So, for example, Venus opposite a Crux star in Crux constellation. And I also found I was interested in Venus is also actually conjunct Schedir star in Cassiopeia constellation. The orb of influence, the orb of degrees, was a little too wide for our particular calculator here. However, when I looked, it was like just a couple minutes off. So I was like, ding, ding, ding. I knew Venus was, I knew somebody was conjunct Shadir, and it just so happens to be Venus. So we'll look more into that particular galactic alignment. But just looking through, you can see the star energies available include Andromeda, Alpha-Rats. The nodes have really been working with us. The Andromedans working with us in terms of our soul purpose, our soul growth, our evolution, our empowerment, our independence, our sense of freedom. So as that frequency, a little bit of the rebellion, the revolution. Okay, let's get things off the ground. Let's like manifest some change. Let's be a little more fluid, a little more flexible, a little bit more divine feminine also. So really interesting balance here. The South Node in alignment now with Corvus constellation, Algorab star. This is a new energy of the raven and the sacred bird. And what are those messages from your soul that are coming in? And when you're really deeply listening, this is another one of the galactic birds. Pluto has also really been working with the galactic birds. And Corvus is another one of these. I was listening really to the bird song a lot, the journey that I did just before starting the recording of this video. So be listening to the birds, be listening to that own inner voice within. Some very important messages can be welling up from within. Mercury is opposing Spica star in Virgo, Arcturus star in Boots. This is the A team of galactic guides, I like to say. Spica, a star of our gifts and talents, becoming more aware of what those are. How can you express them? How can you talk about them? How can you share them? How can you begin understanding what those gifts and talents are, become more aware of them so you can know what your strengths are and put those forward and value those and receive an exchange of value in between in exchange for your gifts and your talents. And this is also making me think of that spiritual business and the new types of vocations that are a part of the new consciousness on earth at this time. Arcturus also speaking about going your own way, forging your own path, and also those beautiful light beings in the group consciousness of Arcturus, the healing energy of balance and like a Reiki type of energy or other forms of spiritually guided life force energy and energy healing modalities coming through and really enveloping our minds, which is kind of saying the same story that the Mercury conjunct Chiron. So that's what's very interesting about adding the additional layers of the stars to the astrological work can really emphasize and reinforce some of the stories that are already emerging, the themes and patterns already emerging within the astrological chart when we just look at the planets and the relationships between the planets, the aspects, and what signs they're in. So Venus's alignments we'll talk about in a moment. Mars opposite the supergalactic center. This is talking about continued ancestral healing, which has been such an ongoing theme. Also with Neptune opposite supergalactic center. So that Mars-Neptune conjunction I talked about earlier in this video, a part of that being linked to ancestral healing, letting go, dissolving, and healing the deeper wounds of the lineage within the galactic as well, and really receiving that empowered, balanced way of being in relationship with oneself and with others in a way that honors more of the wholeness and fullness of who you truly are. Jupiter conjunct Algol and Perseus. This is the divine feminine component of the Perseus constellation, which is a warrior in the sky. Capulus, the divine masculine Kundalini. Algol, the divine feminine Kundalini and life force. So, with both of these highlighted in tandem, this is incredibly potent in terms of our life force energy. Jupiter-Uranus conjunction is not finished with us, clearly. So this is a wonderful time for self-Reiki, receiving a Reiki session, doing Reiki meditation, Reiki journey, shamanic journey, any kind of healing work or Kundalini yoga, other ways that you work with your Kundalini and your life force energy. This is the time. This is the time, and that can really bring in new levels of positive results and expansion and awakening and greater embodiment of this heaven on earth, this Beta Centauri, Hadar, Aegina, the star with 3 names in Centaurus constellation, that in my journeys and in my experience is really like this divine feminine utopian realm of like kind of like a third heaven realm. All there is love, and there's some physicality, but it's also non-physical, and it's very beautiful and seamless with nature and integrated with nature. So we can be receiving more activations and embodiment of all of that within us. Saturn with Achernar star and Eridanus. Oh my goodness. Y'all know I'm in love with this star that's been so highlighted in our eclipses. So Achernar at the mouth of the starry river of life, the river of peace, Eridanus constellation, connected to the mouth of God chakra, the back of the head, the place where the God consciousness enters the physical body, the place of the soul and the spirit, and those more of that divine messaging is there. So really with Saturn embodying our inner authority, being open to flow. This is also, I've become aware, Achernar connected very much to channeling. So in all the different manifestation and parts of channeling. I'm really in love with this star and plan to do some more work and probably teaching class maybe in the future about this star, because it's one of those that I can't seem to get enough of. And maybe it's because I love Saturn so much. So really our inner authority receiving so much grace, so much flow, and so much opportunity to connect to the peace frequencies and the healing frequencies, and even like the healed ego frequencies, and being an instrument of peace. Neptune with Skiat star and Pegasus. This is more of that letting go. This is more of that, mental intellect, logic, reasoning, the galactic unicorns, the earthly unicorns, the horse energy, the ancient Celtic energy, channeling, prophecy, foreseeing things, seeing down future timelines, and also purification, letting go, releasing anything that no longer serves the highest good, so that by the time Neptune changes sign, enters Aries next year, it's like full speed ahead. Spiritual authority, inner authority, spiritual leadership can really blossom. Pluto with Altair star in Aquila constellation, one of the flying birds, the flying eagle here, boldness, courage, also genius frequencies. I've seen Altair in the charts of Nassim Haramein, Albert Einstein. Some of these people I consider, and many of us consider, to be geniuses, astrophysicists, quantum physicists, dreaming in a unified physics, dreaming in a science that actually matches consciousness and the ultimate reality, and what so many spiritual seers and traditions have been talking about and teaching about for so long, to have a science that matches that and explains that in a really grounded mathematics. So, and again, Pluto stationing retrograde just before this new moon really is like that genius frequency is even more accessible to us. So, really, really exciting. Lilith is also with Corvus constellation Algorab. So, Lilith conjuncting the South Node, both connecting with these stars, the raven, so those messages, the dark feminine, the cosmic feminine, really a time where that Venus, the feminine that's invited to dinner, and Lilith, the feminine that's not invited to dinner, the feminine that didn't want to submit. Algol is also the feminine that didn't want to submit and that was punished. There's a whole mythology around Algol here. So there are Andromeda too, being part of that feminine, speak up part of the feminine. There's a lot of feminine energy when we look at the galactic chart. Taurus also being a zodiac sign of the feminine. So this can be a really deep healing of all the various nuances and parts of the feminine energy, and what that means for each of us will be a little different, and then what that means and how that expresses in a more global and collective way will also be different. And know that we are holding space for this, and that the planets and the stars are literally aligning to facilitate a healing and empowerment of all the aspects and nuances and expressions of the feminine on Earth at this time. That is also very much supported by Venus in conjunction with Schedir star in Cassiopeia constellation. You see, Schedir is in the breast of Cassiopeia, the queen who is very beautiful and very powerful, and the way her myth and story goes, according to the Greco-Roman mythology, is that she was the queen married to King Cepheus in rulership, and she was very beautiful. Their daughter Andromeda, also very beautiful. And depending on the version of the myth, she was boasting either of her own beauty or Andromeda's beauty. This angered the gods, particularly goddess Aphrodite, also known as Venus, goddess of beauty, and the gods were angry with Cassiopeia, so she and King Cepheus actually offered their daughter Andromeda as a sacrifice, chained her to a rock, and left her for the sea monster Cetus the whale to come and devour her because the gods in their anger had sent Cetus to destroy the royal family. And what happened is that Perseus, the warrior, the hero, right? Capulus, Algol, Jupiter, Uranus, conjunct these stars and Perseus. So we have all members of the royal family present here within the story. Andromeda is working with our nodes. Alderamin is actually in the constellation of the king. That's the star of the king. Probably a part of this picture here, but just not drawn in. So what happened is that Perseus, the prince, the young warrior, came and saved Andromeda, and they became married. And realizing that this rendition of the story is being told through a very patriarchal kind of lens and framework, and that when we look deeper into Cassiopeia, really this constellation is speaking of the archetype, the pure archetype of the feminine, of the queen, the empowered feminine queen, the empowered divine feminine, the empowered matriarch energy. This is a star of dignity, Schedir, and it means to have dignity. So it's a very, very beautiful star. And I think, going back deeper and back further in the mythology and the symbolism into that pure archetype, we can really sense the purity of the frequency of Schedir, of Cassiopeia. We can really invite in, receive, and embody the pure, feminine, empowered queen archetypal nature of Cassiopeia constellation and of Schedir star. And in the galactic stories, it's very similar that these were more matriarchal types of societies, types of worlds, and types of beings that really appreciated and honored more of that divine feminine. Of course, struggling with finding a healthy balance. It depends on what level of consciousness you reach out into these galactic realms. For sure, there are levels of consciousness within these galactic realms where that pure divine feminine queen archetype is very accessible. And this is the one that can help us build spiritual businesses. And this is the one that can help us. How do we make practical and accessible our own authentic gifts and talents and beauties, and value our channeling and value more of the divine feminine types of gifts, value being receptive, value being a mother, being a daughter, being in helping roles and caring roles and guidance roles and roles of seership and mysticism and intuition and emotionality, whether you're man or woman, being able to be whole in that feminine nature, regardless of sex and gender, and feel connected to that part of self and valuing that part of self, that aspect. So Venus with Schedir, according to Bernadette Brady, one of my astrology teachers who has a wonderful star school, is what it's called, where I have a certification. And she talks about this combination as being to support another friend or partner with quiet dignity. So that support, that caring, that caretaking, that listening, very much a part of this, to lend one's credibility to a cause or an idea, to treat all people with dignity, with respect. Like how life-changing that can be for somebody who is not normally treated with dignity and respect, and to remember to treat yourself with dignity and respect the way you would like others to treat you. Society undertakes to act with dignity. Okay, this is the divine light of dignity. I'm getting it now. I'm getting it now. Wow. I'm so excited to bring this in to the Reiki journey on the Taurus new moon distant Reiki share, the light of dignity. What is this all about? So, whether you come to my distant Reiki share or you experience the new moon another way, there is an opportunity to work with the divine light of dignity and explore that through this star alignment. I'd also like to just mention the Sabian symbol for 19 degrees of Taurus. This is from astrologer Dane Rudger. It is a new continent rising out of the ocean, the surge of new potentiality after the crisis. So, whatever crisis may or may not have been instigated by the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, for some of us, there was not a crisis. For others, there may have been a sort of crisis. This is a very hopeful symbol to have here. The symbol need hardly be commented upon. When the mind has been emptied and light has been called upon to purify the consciousness freed from its attachment and contaminations, a new release of life can emerge out of the infinite ocean of potentiality, the virgin space. What will it be used for? Because this is a fourth stage symbol, we find in it a suggestion of how to approach whatever new phase of life has been not only hoped for, but actually confirmed. The technique is simply to allow the infinite potential to operate in unconstrained spontaneity. This means to have reached a state in which the conscious, rational ego is no longer a controlling factor. So, spontaneity is not typically something that Taurus or the fixed signs are really comfortable with. They're more stubborn and more like, okay, we find the way to do it and we keep doing it that way and can really have some attachment to it. So, inviting in that frequency of spontaneity, inviting in that recently healed ego, that next level of healed ego, to let go of some control, right? Mars conjunct Neptune, Neptune at the last degree of the zodiac, 29 Pisces, letting go some more, letting flow. Saturn and Pisces conjunct Eridanus, the starry river of life, Achernar, at the mouth of the river here. So there's possibility, and these possibilities can take form as we trust the flow more fully, be more spontaneous, trust our inner guidance, and vision in the new earth possibilities. This is also very much reflected in the Galactic Heritage card message for this new moon. Every new moon, I ask, or every full moon too, when I prepare these presentations, I ask, what's the highest guidance for everybody who's going to watch this video? And I pull usually one card, but sometimes more. This time it was one card, the perfect card, number 54, New Consciousness. Earth is the location, Earth is the spot. Taurus new moon, Earth is the spot. Jupiter Uranus conjunction in Taurus. I said the same thing in my class. Earth is the spot. It's happening here, it's happening now, present timeline. This is a card from Lisa Royal Holt's Galactic Heritage card deck. Love this deck. The new consciousness is another word for heaven on earth, is another word for the new paradigm, the new earth. Pluto and Aquarius, the new forms, the new creations, the new ways of being and wholeness and fullness and thriving and beauty and peace and collaboration rather than competition, in harmony and collaboration with nature rather than in dominance or control over nature, but to be in communion with nature, to understand that we are nature, our bodies are nature, and that we are connected to the divine, and nature is an emanation of the divine, and we are emanations of the divine nature. So, how beautiful to connect with this energy, to plant seeds of the new consciousness and to watch them grow this moon cycle and far beyond. And part of that new consciousness is community of like minded, like hearted, kind hearted, sincere spiritual seekers on a path of awakening, growth, and development. And there are two opportunities I'm offering for you to be a part of that. May 6th, the Distant Reiki Share, May 25th, Jupiter and Gemini, Galactic Astrology, and Reiki class. If either of those are speaking to you, please learn more on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com, as well as the variety of ways you can work one-on-one with me, whether that's a Reiki session or one of a variety of astrological readings, that it is my great honor and pleasure to share my gifts and talents with you and to connect more deeply, be of service to my soul family, guiding you home to heaven on earth within through Reiki and astrology, which is what I'm doing myself as well, very much as assisting others in this process. It is my joy, my pleasure, and my privilege. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo. Happy new moon to you.